1. Your favorite hobby. Everybody has his or her own hobby. For me, my favorite hobby is reading books. My father was not only a writer but a researcher as well. He had a great collection of books on many fields: literature, science, art, fiction and non-fiction. After his death, I inherited the most valuable treasure which has been preserved carefully up to now. As I have a large collection of books of my own now, I usually spend hours reading and thinking about facts described in each kind of books. Sitting comfortably in an armchair in the library with a book open on my knee, I recall my father, who was absorbed in his reading, perusing the poems of John Keats, William Wordsworth, Chateaubriand and Lamartine. I still hear his sonorous voice reciting rhythmical lines of poems in Kim Ban-Kiyu's story while his face was radiant with ecstasy and raptures. Through books I see many countries rise and fall. Kings and presidents pass before my eyes and I can follow the history of nations. Each book has a story to tell me of remote countries and strange people. I am greatly indebted to books indeed. For me, a good book is not only a true companion but also a well-experienced teacher guiding me through my life. It has the miracle to relieve my suffering and my hardship and reveal to me strange and new horizons. Reading books broadens my mind and improves my knowledge. Instead of indulging myself in futile entertainments, I am often keen on reading books, which are always a source of comfort and relief to me, and I am determined to preserve my father's valuable treasure for my posterity. In a few words, the reading of books contributes to the moral and intellectual formation of a man's personality. 2. My favorite TV programs. As a senior high school student, I am very busy with my studies. Although I am very fond of watching television, I can only spend an hour after dinner on my hobby. Of all the TV programs, I like the news and documentaries best. The news programs shown on all TV channels at 7 p.m. help me to know almost everything about different places in our country and important events happening all over the world. Through these programs, I can also know about the main national and international sporting events. The documentary programs at weekends are my favorites. By watching them, I can learn a great deal about human civilizations, the wonders of nature and the amazing inventions and discoveries of great people in the world. Watching television is my hobby. I cannot imagine a day in my life without watching it. 3. Tell about your hobby in free time. My hobby is stamp collecting. When I was still only a baby, my mother began to collect for me. Of course, she did not let me touch the stamps until I was old enough not to spoil them. I remember that it was on my 15th birthday that she first put them into my hands. They were in 4 fat books. But since that time I have added 3 more, so that now I have a bigger collection than any of my friends. How do I get my stamps? I have never bought a single one from a shop, so my collection has really cost me nothing. My father, who works in a big office, sometimes brings me home stamps from many countries of the world. And I have friends both here and in other lands who send me stamps in return for ones which I send to them. Now that I am working for my living, I do not have as much time as before to spend on my stamps. But in the evenings, what can be better than to sit down at a table with my precious books, arranging new stamps in them, writing in the names of countries, or, if I am too tired, only looking through the stamps already in the books. Each stamp has a story to tell me of far countries and strange peoples. I see pictures of men and women, birds and animals that I have never seen. Kings and presidents pass before my eyes. And I can follow the history of nations. I can see Hitler's Germany spreading over Europe and then suddenly breaking into pieces. Pakistan is born before my eyes. Countries rise and countries fall, and the whole time I remain comfortably in my armchair at home. But my stamp collection does not make me think only of the past. Just as my mother collected for me, so I too am collecting for my future child. What better way will there be of interesting him in history, geography and languages, and of making these subjects live for him instead of being only things in school books? If I pass my hobby on to him, he will bless me for it as I have blessed my mother for her wise action. 4. Your favorite pet. Rosie is a dog which I have been keeping for the past 4 years. It was by sheer accident that Rosie came into my hands. Our neighbor Mr. Jones was a dog lover. He has a good kennel in his house where he reared different types of dogs. Suddenly, he got transferred from the town and he wanted to dispose some of the dogs he had. He was talking to my father. Then I told my father that we could have one of the puppies. Though reluctant, my father agreed. That was how Rosie came into my possession. Why it was named Rosie, I cannot say. It is an Alsatian. It is of medium height, gray in color with dark spots near her belly, bushy and glistening eyes. It grew into a beautiful and magnificent dog, much to the envy of others. Rosie can be seen about our house when she is playing or when she is not sleeping. She takes pleasure in sniffing about the comers when she has nothing particular to do. She is as docile as a deer in our presence. When we are not at home she will be at her mettle and no one can easily come near our gate or house. Though she does not bite, she will bounce on the person baring her teeth so much so that she can paralyze any intruder. She recognizes the postman as a friend and so does not do him any harm. I give her some biscuits and milk in the morning, rice and curry in the afternoon. Usually she is not given any food in the night. When we are at our table, Rosie keeps company with me but she shows no eagerness to touch even a crumb unless offered. So my father likes it. Rosie cries in peculiar way. It is between barking and howling. Sometimes she raises a cry like moaning. That means she wants to go out for toilet. Whenever I go out in the evening, she accompanies me. My friends are afraid of her because she does not like silly mischievous boys. She shows her displeasure by barking and that is enough to unnerve the boys. My father says, Rosie would soon become a mother. Then I will have a few nice puppies.